we attract not what we want, we attract what we are. That's the law of attraction. And if we are fear and anger and pride and lust, we will attract circumstances that stimulate, that trigger those demons and get them to come up to the surface. Why? So that Lady Liberty can shine the light of Lucifer on them, so that we can see them. And because this is the only way we can be free of them, our Divine Mother will not stop presenting us with opportunities to see the causes of our suffering, because we have to see them first. We have to know them next, intimately. We have to comprehend them. We have to see the light. That's the only way she can then eliminate them for us. We have to learn our lesson. We have to. She can't rid us of them unless we learn our lesson. That's why there are so many people who experience the same thing over and over and over and over again. This is a very contentious issue, but you may have heard of women who, relationship after relationship, they find themselves in abusive relationships with abusive boyfriends and abusive husbands over and over and over again. And that individual, that woman, if she listens to who knows what kind of contemporary feminist bullshit, she might be convinced that the world is out to get her and that she's just a victim and so on and so forth. But the reality is, she has not learned what she needed to learn. And the only way she can become cognizant and aware and conscious of the demon inside of her is by having an external mirror triggering that and causing that demon to come up to the surface. It's the only way. Our Divine Mother is not cruel. Our Divine Mother, it's severity and mercy. A mother's love for her child. A mother gives a child what the child needs, including the necessary discipline, the harsh lessons. Why do you think we have these 2 generations of completely useless young people today? Because they weren't raised properly. They weren't raised with unconditional love. They weren't raised with severity and mercy. They were spoiled. And they were raised with modern pediatricians and pediatric psychologists' idea of what raising children is all about. And they were raised under the cloud of this bullshit trauma theory of human behavior. That, oh my God, we can't subject children to anything difficult or challenging or harsh or whatever because, oh, they'll develop a trauma, which is complete and utter nonsense. That's total horseshit. Children are far more resilient than we give them credit for. Now, it doesn't mean that you're supposed to abuse them. That's the pendulum swinging way too far the other way. But to be hard on children is good for them when it's necessary, when it's required. To be soft on children all the time, you end up with weak adults. They're not even adults. They're just grown-up children, and they're weak, and they're entitled, and they're victims, and they're all the other things that they are, completely and totally, utterly useless. Lost generations. The other thing is they're being raised by institutions and institutional learning and institutions' concepts of what's right and wrong. Artificial intelligence cannot know the truth, whether it's a computer or an AI or an institutional setting like a school system or a school board or a medical system or the Institute of Pediatric Psychologists. They don't know the truth. You cannot codify and quantify into a system, into a mechanical system, divine universal truth, because that mechanical system is unconscious. And if the people who are trying to follow the dot the I's and cross the T's according to that mechanical system are just using their rational mind, guess what? They're hypnotized and they're ignorant. There is no replacement for the love of a mother for her children. There is no mechanical institutional replacement for that. None. Zero. Impossible. And there is no replacement for your individual Divine Mother. There is nothing out there that can substitute. And there's nothing in here, in your rational mind, that can substitute for the knowledge and wisdom and love of your Divine Mother for you. And if you want to second guess and this and that and other than that, you're free to do so. You're free to follow the machinations of your artificial intelligence, of your rational mind. Your Divine Mother is not going to stop loving you. And you will keep running into the same thing over and over and over and over again until you learn your lesson. Because in the Alm of Life, if you're going around the spiral in the Alm of Life, okay, you will be stuck on the level that you're at, going around and around and around and around. Do this on a piece of paper with a pen and see how long it takes you to cut through the paper. But it's not until you comprehend your demon and your divine mother eliminates it. Remember, this is follow your bliss. This is explore your bliss. This is return to base. And then you return to the next level. And then you have a whole new level to pursue. And you'll have to go around and around and around and around until you do the same work. And then you can get to the next level. And the goal is the Alm of Life, to keep advancing levels, which is where we get the concept of level up in video games. But you cannot level up. It's just like a video game. You've got to keep playing the same level over and over and over and over again until you learn the patterns, until you learn what you're doing wrong, and until you learn how it is with the help of the light of Lucifer, the light bringer. And then at some point you're playing that level and you go, oh, now I know what I was doing wrong. And you figure out what the final boss was doing and how to beat him. And then boom, then you beat him. And then it was like, oh my gosh, that was really easy. It was only until you just had to figure out the right combination of things to do to beat that level. And then what happens? You go to the next level, and the next level is harder. And as you progress through that video game, the challenges get harder and harder and harder and harder. But the more you defeat the baddies inside of you, the more you liberate consciousness and faculties, and the more you develop skills and abilities that are going to serve you in those higher and higher and harder levels. Remember, every act of creation is an act of destruction. Every time you level up, the only way you can level up is an aspect of you must die. The part of you that was trapped in those lower levels dies in order to make way for this new you, which is able to take on higher and higher levels. The false you versus the real you. And with that, we can come back and answer this question for Kundalini King, who's new here. Who is we? We is myself, Attila, the mortal person speaking these words to you now, and myself, with a capital S, Attlas, my innermost being, who is the one giving us the words that we are speaking to you, that I speak with you, because I'm just a mouthpiece, I'm a vessel, I'm a servant, I'm a messenger. And Allux, who is the being of beings, the fire of fire, the light of lights, and the being of beings. All light, God light. Allux. When we say we are speaking to you. I'm just a mortal vessel. I'm nothing. I'm insignificant. I'm a character in the MMORPG called life. I'm not going to use the word avatar, because that's a special word in esotericism. It means something very special and very particular. So I don't like using that word to describe myself. I'm just a mortal vessel. That's all I am. But I'm not the one speaking. I'm the one reciting these words. I'm the one passing them along. But I'm just a messenger. I'm not the originator of these words. I'm not the originator of the book. That's why the book is written by Atlas Allux and not by Attila Louis Lenvi. The foreword is written by Attila Louis Lenvi. I wrote the foreword from my perspective in order to help the reader contextualize and understand what it is that they're going to be reading and who it is who wrote it, and that I am just a stenographer. I just did the typing. So that is who we are. Kundalini also says, go to the high place. And he also says, LOL, I died and woke up the next morning still here. I was like, shit, I got work to do. So the video game analogy is really an excellent one.